Well, hello there, and welcome back to the second episode of my Redstone Basics Tutorials. And today we're going to talk about something simple on the surface that eventually gets extremely complicated when you start adding things together. But we're only going to cover the basic essentials of how the thing functions and what you need to know. And that thing is the repeater. All right, and I've got a handful of things pre-set up like last time to kind of demonstrate some of this. Now, one of the big things that we need to know, when you place a repeater, just like that, the signal will get carried in the direction that you're facing when you place it. And there's kind of an arrow on the repeater, so you can kind of see which direction it's pointing right from the get-go. But if we see from this side, it'll power. But if I try to power it the other way, it will not do anything. Okay? So somewhat important. Now, the repeater in its most base form allows us to extend a signal way further than we could with just redstone dust. And in this case, we've got a total of 18 blocks over there, and I can lift the piston, I can drop the piston, and we're good, right? Normally, I'd only be able to reach up to 15 blocks away with this lever, and then if I put this in, I can go an additional 15. And I can have as many repeaters in a row as I want to carry the signal as far as I want to, as long as it's within my render distance. All right. So the most base form, it makes your wires longer. hmm So what can that do for us? Well, all kinds of things, but it does have another function as well. And that is the lock function. If you power the side of a repeater, it will lock it on. Now, just quick explanation. Redstone dust off of the repeater I'm about to power with this button comes over here, powers this repeater. At the moment, because I have a block pushed in place here, it'll power this block, which will power this redstone, powering this repeater, which will then lock this repeater. So here we go. This repeater is powering this repeater, which keeps it on, which keeps this going around, and boom, all of a sudden we have a locked repeater. And you can see this bar here. As long as it receives power on the side of it here, it will continue to stay locked. And in and of itself, this is not necessarily a useful feature for anything real simple like we're going to see today. But for more complicated machines, this is a very important feature. All right, now as soon as I break my redstone signal, boom, it's dead. Nothing more to it. Okay, so we can lock the side. Now, this is one of our most basic things that we can do. This is a repeater clock, and we'll just fire it off once. This block will power this in a loop once I extend it, but we'll fire it off once. It goes around, and you can see the signal slowly going around. And depending on how I set up those repeaters, which we'll talk about over there, will determine how fast this happens. So if I want something to happen over and over again, boom, and it starts the loop over again. Over and over and over, right? And for something like this piston here, I mean, all it's doing is it's raising a block, it's lowering the block over and over again, which gets into some of your repetitive machinery and stuff like that that you can do. Which is, it definitely has its uses. I don't want to get too far into that, though, because that's rabbit trails. And we're just here for the repeater today. Now, the reason that was going around so slow is because of repeater ticks. After you place a repeater, so we placed it in this direction, you can right-click on it. And you can see the stick move, 1, 2, 3, and then back to 0. All right, so that determines how many ticks of delay you have on your repeaters when you generate something. So we can kind of see it where the lights kind of turn on and off at different times. And that's because of this delay. So right now I have it 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3. And it kind of creates this cascading wavy pattern, right? So if I want things to turn on in a certain sequence for something, or I need something to happen just a little before something else, this is a really good way to do it, right? So this allows me to time my circuits. There's other ways to time it, but most of the time when you hear someone talking about timing something, they're probably talking about repeaters and the ticks here. All right, so if we want to take that to another level, over here, I've got a clock set up, and I've got my on-off switch, and there is substantially better ways to do this. It's just not for today. But we'll start with this, and we'll see the floor kind of lights up and kind of goes on and off in sequence there, right? If I just want it to fire off once, and these could be pistons instead of redstone lamps, then we could have a wavy floor instead of a lighty floor. But if we want, say, a disco dance room, right? Boom, all of a sudden, we've got kind of a disco floor. And if I want something to change, like, I don't know, these two, or well, really, these three are like all too close together. So let's make you longer. Let's make you shorter. Let's put you there. Okay, let's see how much we got. Boom, now we've got more of a random kind of light up effect. And depending on how you time them, you can like cascade across in a series, or you could I don't even know off the top of my head. all kinds of different patterns, things like that. And it's just a matter of getting the timing right so things fire in the right order, right? So that's pretty much it. As far as everything goes. Now, the timing example I used over there, here, we can see it a little bit better here, right? Boom, boom. And this is all set to 0, all set to 1, all set to 2, all set to 3. So you can see that the more of them you stack on top of each other too, the longer your system goes, to the point where you can see over here basically instant, and it creates this kind of wave effect like I was talking about on the repeaters, which then comes over here, lights up our lights, bada bing, bada boom. And if we wanted to be like slick, we could actually even hide this a little bit, where we could power a block instead, put that, and then we could have our repeaters hidden, right? So that we can come up here, click our button, boom. All of a sudden, we've just got this nice, smooth lighting kind of thing. So if I wanted, I don't know, maybe an airstrip or something like that, where it just whoop and guides me down, then that's exactly what we could do. And the possibilities are, semi-endless. It's really up to your own creativeness. In fact, if I wanted to do something derpy, I could do. No, let's go to extra one there, right? So now when I push the button, it'll light up the sequence. Why did that not go? Did I overestimate something? Ah, yeah, let's try that. We're just doing different things. I was thinking I would lock that repeater, but now boom. So it lights up in order, but it holds this one on until the very end. So we kind of get a cycle going. And then if we wanted to, I don't know. Boom, boom. Let's get out our button from our redstone resources. Wait, you locked on. Oh, my clock may not have been long enough. Hold on. Yeah, there we go. Right. So, or I can just take that one out of the equation, and I've got this constant, never-ending stream of revolving lights. And all of our components, if you don't count the redstone lamp, is just redstone dust repeaters in some way to start it. And I could have started this with a lever if I wanted, or the button. I find the buttons easier, because if you hold your switch or your lever on too long, it'll actually just lock this whole thing up and it'll perpetually power itself. But anyway, yeah, let's get rid of you. We don't have any need for any of that. Just derpy ideas as I'm coming up with them. But there we have it, the repeater. One of the fundamental basics of redstone. Da, da, da. There we go. You know what? Maybe I should set this to an all-day world. But with that, we have learned ourselves something new. It's a great little technique. It gives us all kinds of options for all kinds of things that we can continue to play with and enjoy. So with that, I hope you learned something. If you got questions, hey, leave them down in that comment section. I'd be happy to clarify absolutely anything that you can ask. And, the repeater's pretty simple, so I probably know it. If you ask something really off the wall and I don't know, I'll find out for you. Can get into the technical reading and stuff like that if there's something that I'm not currently aware of. But with that, hey, thanks for checking this out. I hope to see you again in my next video. But for now, have a good one. Bye.